Already got 28 members across the room. Okay, let's welcome Dhruv. Dhruv sir, welcome back. It's always been a great learning from you whenever you take this session. And yeah, there are a lot of changes which has happened. I think this is the right time for us to know what changes which has happened across. And over to you, Dhruv sir. Now you can take this forward.
Thank you and good evening to everyone. And thank you again, once again, for attending this session on a Friday evening when I'm sure a lot of people must not be in the mood to actually attend something on a Friday afternoon. But thank you for your August presence. And I think we have 28 participants, so I think we should go ahead. I'll beg to differ from Sir on only one small point is that although a lot of changes have not taken place, but there are certain pertinent changes which obviously need to be discussed. But I think more than that, I think these meetings have evolved to be something where I have the honor and the privilege of interacting with members, and members also get a forum where they're able to discuss issues which they wouldn't ideally have in their busy schedules and occupations. So, with that being said, we'll start with I think the biggest bank reform that we have seen in the past maybe 1 month. There are other reforms, and I think the government is now taking a very liberal view towards reforms. I don't know if anyone has read about this recent report and a recent committee that has been constituted to liberalize the compliance sector. There has been news about abolishing audits for companies which have turnover less than 1 crores. Now, as a chartered accountant, ideally everyone would have been expecting me to complain about this, but instead we are very happy that the compliance burden is being reduced. We believe that it will actually augur more business, encourage more people to set up companies, experiment with business, and give rise to entrepreneurship. With that being said, I'll just share my screen and I hope, yeah, I think the PPT is visible. We'll first be covering labor code. Please apologize for the spelling, a little bit of confusion with the O and the U. We'll just cover a little bit of regulatory changes, tax discussions. We'll obviously go to my favorite part of the discussion, which is Notebook LM. What are the recent changes? How we are using AI in our workflow and how we suggest you use it. And naturally, we have our second most favorite session, which is questions and discussions. And considering that the changes are not numerous, I would invite everyone to please consider this an interactive session, and please feel free to raise questions on the topic and specifically off the topic also, if required. We have new labor codes which have been notified, and I spent a little bit of time trying to assess the impact on the on specifically software dealers, on specifically MSMEs, on specifically the nature of business that we do. The major thing is that the labor codes do impact a lot of companies which are involved in the manufacturing space, but on the whole, on the services and the trading segment, yeah, on the trading side and on the services side, we don't see a lot of implications, right? There is radical simplification. 29 fragmented laws are now consolidated into 4 unified codes. Right? There is enhanced operational flexibility with fixed term employment, which was something which was seen as a very negative thing, has now been incorporated into the code. Benefits like PF ESIC become universally applicable, although it does seem like that there will be humongous amount of compliance owing to that. That's not the case. All registrations will be simplified. There will be a single PAN linked registration for all the labor codes. The 4 basic codes are the code on wages, the code on social security, industrial relation code, which I don't see really an impact on the industrial relations code part, the occupational safety and health and working conditions code. Our impact, I think, to ISODA members would be specifically limited to the code on wages. There is an inherent definition in the definition of wages which will impact all of the ISODA members. In terms of the code on social security, yes, consolidated social security law will now prevail. There won't be any separate registrations required for, let's say, an ESIC or a PF. So it's a centralization of the law. It's an extension of the application of the law. and also simplification. Some key takeaways: every employee must be issued a formal appointment letter, ensuring transparency on the terms of the engagement. Minimum wages, which were right now, for want of a better word, a mess, because each state had its own separate disclosure in terms of the minimum wages, now will be centralized. Minimum wages will be notified by the central government. And on health checkups for all employees over age of 40, this does come with certain caveats. It won't be applicable to all. We are still going through the code, but yes, it's something to be privy to and understand. ESIC coverage will now be expanded to pan India, reaching even smaller business units. So if you were not under the purview of ESIC, please be aware that under labor code you might be under the purview of ESIC. So appointment letters, minimum wages becomes rationalized, annual health checkups, and expanded ESIC coverage. Now coming to the key takeaway, which I feel is impacting, will impact pay structures and everything, is understanding the wage calculus. Now, right now, when we are deciding CTCs for our employees, in certain cases, we're able to keep the basic as 40%, 30%. There is practice where it's been kept as 40% of the total CTC. It was advised informally by the PF and ESI departments to keep the basic as 50%, but that was no mandate. Now it's a mandate under law. For every CTC that you design, 50% has to mandatorily be basic pay. So you cannot escape by reducing the basic. A lot of employers used to do that to ensure that the gratuity and the leave encashment outgo used to be lesser, but now that has all been capped. If allowances, so it's essentially, if you have your whole CTC, 50% would be basic. The rest can be all the allowances, which are HRA, DA, leave travel allowances, special allowances, whatever you want to call it as, but they're all other allowances. And if by any chance you do decide a structure which is different, the wage code will calculate at as 50% of the total CTC. So this will likely increase payroll costs in terms of, PF, employer PF also increases. It might reduce employee take home pay. So this impact has to be carefully seen. The exact date on which this will be notified is something which we are still going through on as to what date exactly this will require modification in your payroll structures. But it is an important thing. I think this is the key takeaway which I can see impacting businesses on the whole, is to go back to the drawing board and redesign your CTC packages. This will obviously impact gratuity, outgoes, leave, etc., and all of the other things. Now, another thing is that there is something known as wage, right? Wage is defined as, colloquially now defined as basic. So when you're talking about the Social Security Code, whenever you're talking about basic, the thing should be to refer to wage. So wage is this new definition. That's obviously the key takeaway there. There is a single, I'll just head out to the compliance part of it, and then there were previously approximately 8 different registrations. Now there'll be single pan India registration. Multiple state specific licenses will now be consolidated into a single pan India license. So my take is that, for example, the shops establishment, or any other, not shops establishment, any other labor registration which was required, for example, labor welfare fund, XYZ, all of them get consolidated into a single unified code, one unified annual return, digital web-based system, decriminalized penalties, and more of a enforcement system rather than of an inspection-based system. So what the key takeaway from here would be that if you're setting up branch offices now you were sitting in Delhi, you're setting up a branch office in Mumbai, it required coordination and liaising with labor law consultants locally, getting the labor law registrations locally done. Now that part gets handled because you have a single unified code. So you are aware of what law, what implication is there on each specific branch office, and the compliance and the reporting can be consolidated accordingly. We do see fixed term employment catching vogue. If you are looking for fixed term employees, fixed term employment is now going to can attract specialized project talent away from contractors. So for example, if you were dealing with third party payroll providers for temporary purposes, for staffing purposes, that can now be shifted, and you can have fixed term employment where the term has been specifically defined at the start of the employment, which is beneficial both for the employer and employee. However, there is one catch here, is that gratuity, etc., would be applicable as soon as the fixed term employment goes above 1 year. So that is the catch. So that will require a careful consideration of as to whether you can keep employees on your payroll or you still want to keep them on third party payroll. But yes, fixed term employment is now a reality. It has been given legal flavor as per the labor codes. So I think three key takeaways: 50% of CTC has to be basic, which I think was an informal rule. Simplified compliance, unified compliance all across India, and a fixed term employment, and significant easing of the reporting guidelines under various different laws. Any questions here? Although I'm not really a labor law expert, but I was keen to cover this since I think this has an impact, and this must have been a question on everyone's mind, considering it has been notified just in the past week. Open to questions. Anybody on the labor code?
If anyone has any question, they can unmute themselves and ask too.
So I guess I will move to the next aspect. We're now moving to our next aspect, which is the income tax regulatory FEMA changes. Now, although there haven't been major changes, this is a change which I think I had sent an email alert also about. This is a change which impacts exporters and importers specifically. If you are aware and if you are dealing with imports and exports of hardware specifically, uh, so I think Biren sir has a question. I think we'll just stop and take the question because it'll be fresh in everyone's mind. Sir, we cannot hear you. If you can unmute. Sir. Sir, I am still actually, I will have to get back to you on this specific query. On fixed term employment, it's 1 year, but for regular employees who are on payroll, I think it still is 5 years. Although, allow me to just confirm this once again, please. I've noted this question down. Sir's question was whether gratuity rules are changing from 5 years or no. Coming back to IDPMS and EDPMS, if you were involved in exports of goods, now I'm not talking about services here, I'm talking specifically in terms of goods. There used to be cases where if you've sent remittance outside India and the goods could not be shipped, or if you would have raised an invoice for goods sent outside India but the payment could not have come, this would have resulted issues with the bank where they would have said that IDPMS, EDPMS entry is not cleared. This is a system from which the government keeps track of whether money has been received for the goods sent outside India and whether money has been paid for the goods which are being imported into India. Earlier, this used to be a headache because it required CA certifications, even if there was a small mismatch. So let's take an example. You have exported goods for $10,000 and you were supposed to receive $10,000. Now the export has taken place, the shipping bill has come. The bank already knows that you are owed $10,000, but you received 9,000 because of some exchange difference, discrepancy, quality issues. The $1,000 would have been an EDPMS issue, reconciliation issue. The bank would have approached you day in, day out. I'm sure some of you must have experienced that also. That where is the $1,000, and you would not be able to explain. Now they've eased out this criteria. The RBI from 1st October has said that bills less than 10 lakh rupees can be closed by furnishing a self-declaration. So they're rationalizing this. So in case you do have open IDPMS, EDPMS entries, and if you are involved in the import and export of goods, please do reach out to your relevant banks with this circular. It's I had sent it last month. Also, I can resend it if anyone requires that. And it allows you to write off these exports. Now, we believe that in the next 1.5 years, we will see significant easing of foreign exchange guidelines from RBI. There has been easing on the external commercial borrowing front also. Companies can now easily raise loans from foreign counterparts. So yes, there is this whole air of ease of doing business. I think it's picking up vogue again. The second part I wanted to cover was there is a drive by the CBDT on foreign assets. So in case you have foreign subsidiaries, if you have accounts outside India, any sort of foreign asset in terms of a house, property, shares, a lot of promoters we've seen would trade in shares, etc., which are listed on stock exchanges. Yes, sir. Past open transactions can also be closed, Viren sir. You'll have to reach out to your bank for advanced clarifications, but yes. Now banks would be conducive to closing it also. There's internal push by the RBI to ease out compliance for small exporters and importers. Coming back to foreign assets, now some of you must have faced investigation notices being received if foreign assets have not been disclosed. Now, two things here. One is that if you do have foreign assets, please ensure to tell your chartered accountant or your accountant or the person who's filing your income tax return. It needs to be disclosed. It is imperative to be disclosed. However, if there has been a default in terms of you not disclosing it, this can be you being a signatory in a foreign account, holding shares in a foreign company, investing outside India in terms of real estate property, then if the total value of that investment or that asset is not more than 20 lakhs, then CBDT says that we will not launch prosecution and penalty provisions on you. So CBDT is basically targeting people who have foreign assets exceeding 20 lakhs. So the threshold limit for materiality for doing any investigation or launching any prosecution is 20 lakhs. If it's less than 20 lakhs, you can be rest assured that no prosecution will come over you. However, it is still a healthy practice to ensure that if there are any foreign assets, etc., they should be disclosed in the return. And you might be getting SMSs in the next 1.5 months for disclosing this. If not disclosed, you can revise your ITR till 31st December and disclose that. Moving on to our next slide. Oh, I think there's been duplication of here. MSME guidelines were revised. We believe that in the next budget cycle, there have been representations are being done for significantly overhauling MSME Samadhan. Right now, MSME Samadhan serves as a grievance portal where you can lodge grievances for MSME issues. However, this will evolve to become might be a quasi judicial body where you lodge the claim and the claim will be enforced by the MSME ministry or the MSME nodal body. So MSME law is going to get significantly overhauled. If you are dealing with MSMEs, ensure that payments are going on time. If you're not dealing with an MSME and you're an MSME yourself, then ensure that you use this carrot and stick approach with all your customers to ensure that they do remit your payment as soon as possible. Thresholds have changed. They're on the screen. These thresholds have changed from 1st April 2025. It's a simple registration, Udyog Aadhaar, very straightforward. If you're not registered, definitely helps to get registered. I had covered a small thing about there being ease in terms of decriminalization of a lot of laws, and there will be a removal of mandatory audit requirement for private limited companies where turnover is not exceeding 1 crore. So we will see this coming into play from 2026, and there might be further easings of compliance and business. In GST, there has been a significant easing lately from 1st November. There is a new rule where it says that if you're a small taxpayer, you can apply for the registration. It will be granted to you within 3 days. People have been getting GST registrations within half an hour to 1 hour. In that cases, so if you are a small taxpayer, and please do reach out 1:1 to determine that criteria, you can apply for GST registration for your branch or for a new entity and get it as soon as possible without getting into the headache of excessive documentation or excessive queries being raised by the department. This has been a significant step forward in terms of GST compliance. Just opening the chat window to check if there are any. Okay, so we've covered essentially our we have covered essentially our regulatory and tax updates. If there are any questions on topic or off topic, would be happy to address before we move on to our next segment, which is some use cases which we have seen in the past. Some use cases that we have seen which we feel would be beneficial to you as founders and as promoters and CEOs of corporates. Please do feel free to ask questions. They may be tax, regulatory, anything related.
அப்படின்னு போடுன்னு சொல்றாரு. எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சதை நான் போடுறேன்.
Anyone?
Hi, Dhruv.
Hi.
Myself Manda.
Right.
So I have a questions about on PF and ESIC.
Okay.
Okay, the thing is that you have just informed us like the CTC, the basics should be a 50% of a CTC.
Right.
So is that any category like the employee voice, like if the someone having a salary below of CTC below of 5 lakhs
No,
or
no, no.
10
There is
lakhs?
no. So this is a blanket guideline. So it
Okay.
does not apply to specific CTC levels. This is for everybody now. So even if a person is earning 30,000 a month or 30 lakh a month, same guideline is there.
Okay, so it means the basic must be a 50%.
Yes.
Okay.
See, from
And
what I believe is that the only structuring that's remaining and obviously remains to be checked is that a lot of employers have flexi benefit plans for their employees where they, some sort of reimbursement linked payment. Wo that will not count as part of CTC because that's how you obviously optimize tax also. So that part will not count for the CTC calculation of the 50% basic.
okay, correct. So for example, a employee having a basic around 25,000. So what impact will be come on at the time of filing the PF return or paying the PF amount?
No, so let's take an example of a person having a monthly pay of 1 lakh rupees. Earlier, if he was doing basic at 40,000, which was still allowed, now the basic has to be 50,000. So if you were paying employer portion of the PF, okay, you were paying it at 12% of the employer portion. So earlier the outgo was 4,800 rupees, 12% of 40,000. Now it will be 6,000 rupees.
Right.
So obviously now you have to decide who takes the hit, right? It can either be employees take home pay gets reduced, CTC remains the same. So
Okay.
2,400 rupees ka hit employee ke paas gaya na, 1,200
Mhm.
employer, 1,200 employee.
Okay.
That's
And
why there is a reduction in take employee take home pay. Or if you are, or he might just come back to you and say ki, you take the hit of the 1,200 extra employer PF.
okay, I think I have joined you in the mid of the your session. So I have also questions about the ESIC bracket. What was the tagline for that ESIC?
No, so right now, what I'm saying is that we are doing a detailed thing on this. If there is, we will send out a detailed mailer on as and when we're able to do a detailed study. ESIC, however, I think the limit right now is 21,000 a month. It was not applicable on employees earning more than 21,000. That threshold I will need to check because the thresholds will be notified by the central government subsequently.
Okay.
But
Or
however,
for
yes,
example,
yeah.
for
Sorry,
example, so sorry, can I start?
please.
Okay. If my employee having a salary or basic like bracket is a 21,000, by mistakenly I missed to enroll him in ESIC, but I'm providing him a medical facility. So it's something like that. I'm again
Yeah,
not
so
following the rule.
I would have to check. Maybe you can just reach out 1:1. I will have to check whether that will suffice. Whether there is an enabling provision under the code to allow for that to happen.
Okay. So thanks. From
Okay.
my side, only two
Okay.
questions.
Thank you. I have another question on the chat. I'll just speak it out loud. If the labor law is applicable to any count of employees, sir, Ravi sir, I think right now the code has been notified. The threshold limits in terms of what will be the pay, what will be the number of employees at which registration is applicable. That I think I will have to come back to you separately on. Right now, this is a very broad stroke sort of summary. So if someone is having 4 or 8 employees, I personally don't feel it will be applicable. My last reading of the labor code had said that less than 10 employees, I don't see any labor law or labor code being applicable. But that remains to be confirmed. I'll come back to you on this. I don't see a problem for less than 10 employees, however. I think the CTC is something which needs a careful consideration on with employees on how the PF will be structured once you do increase the basic portion of the CTC. Okay, with that being said, I'll just reshare the screen and move on to our next topic in terms of use of AI related tools. Just allow me a second. We have lately two tools which I believe would be beneficial, and I think I just wanted to take 2 minutes to talk about the something which I had read an article about in terms of the era of soloware. Right now, what is happening is that for any problem that you need to solve, which is solved by a problem, which is solved by a software, it requires you to find a software customize it to your own requirements. Now, this software might or might not get customized to your own requirement. You have to fit the software to your own needs. Now, with the latest launching of Gemini 3 model, which is an expert model at coding, right? There have been a lot of emergence of tools which allow you to make your own small softwares or own small apps which can solve specific use case for you. So we have been experimenting with those tools a lot, and it can be a simplistic tool to just enhance the quality of an image, to running a complete database of my CRM. So all of these use cases are now possible. You can use Lovable, you can use Replit, you can use Google AI Studio. Now, I wanted to do a use case with Google AI Studio on something which I believe impacts ISODA members and me also. This is just one example of how a tool can be used. Obviously, it's limited now by your imagination. So coming back to what is Soloware is, now we will see emergence of software which is customized to your specific need rather than software which has been designed for the masses. I think if we're able to tap that, it leads to increased productivity. And without any technical knowledge, you can make small apps for your own internal hosting or own internal operational needs. I'm sharing my screen for a small app which I had made. This, and I would request everyone to obviously note it down also. This is something known as AI Studio, which I have shown in previous sessions also. You can just, if you want to set up an app, you can just open and go to ai.dev. Here you will be opening, here you will go and you can just go and start building your app. You can give your idea. A lot of people have designed many different apps. For example, some people have designed an app to bring any idea to life. So you can just say an idea and it will design a 3D image based on that idea. Right now, my idea was that I receive a lot of queries from my ISODA members on whether the 10F, NOP and TRC documents are enough for me to make the remittance without any TDS. So I think that's a pain point a lot of ISODA members do have. And if you do, please, a small hands up from you side would actually encourage me to make sure that I did pick up the right issue. So we receive a lot of queries from ISODA members or our clients that ये documents आए यार ध्रुव, इसके basis पे क्या मैं zero TDS काट सकता हूँ या नहीं काट सकता हूँ. Now my objective was to remove Dhruv completely from the picture, and how I've done that is I'll first show you what prompt I gave to make the app. Now I don't have any technical knowledge here. Prasad sir, I'll come back to you on this. There's a query in the chat window. Now, I have no technical experience in terms of programming. What I did is I gave it a simple prompt. I said, you are an expert system designed to validate foreign remittance tax documentation. You will be given 3 documents, extract all the details from those documents, validate the period, and then based on that, if everything is valid, then tell the user that no TDS is required. Now, it did its own thing. And this took me 5 minutes to make. It did its own thing and it came up with this app. Let me put it on full screen basis. It is asking me for 3 documents. So I am opening up TRC. I paste a TRC, 10F. I paste the 10F that has been received by me. No PE declaration, I paste that. And I say validate documents. Now what it will do is it will obviously extract relevant data, and based on the instruction that I have given, now this is an app. This app can obviously be shared with internally, externally, any user, right? Let's see what it does come up with. Okay, so now the verification has failed. The compliance verification has failed. Do not proceed without correcting the document or deducting TDS. So now it has flagged those documents to you, right? It is saying that all documents are present. However, very interesting here, the TRC is for the period 1st April 2024 to 31st March 2025. And whereas your proposed date of payment is 28th November 2025. So please do not use these documents because the date is mismatched. So essentially I should have contacted my vendor and said, yaar mere ko TRC correct period ka do. This exercise would have taken, would have resulted in you going back to your CA or your tax advisor. And now it's basically automated. I hope मैंने अपनी पैर पे नहीं कुल्हाड़ी मार ली by rendering myself useless, but please, I would love it if you still do call me for these kind of queries just to talk. But essentially, this is just the tip of the iceberg on what it can be done. Now, let's see what else it has come. The entity name matches across all documents. So I am a busy promoter. I don't have time to check documents, and maybe TRC मेरे को किसी और company का दे दिया है और 10F किसी और company का दे दिया. Here, it's telling me all the entity names match. It has also checked and said ki haan, no P declaration is declared explicitly. However, AI being AI, you cannot completely rely on it. Let's see a funny instance of what it has done. It is saying that TRC pay country is United Kingdom. However, 10F pay it's United Kingdom of Great Britain. So although it is the same, but AI being AI has done this. So that part obviously we can do, but I think the key essence of what we required from this has essentially been solved. Now, from the idea to creation of this app was literally 1 minute and 10 seconds. This is a repetitive app. I can share it with my team. I can share it with ISODA members at large. I can use it for my own thing. It's hosted on the internet. I can use it from my laptop, my phone, etc. So this is one instance of how we've used these apps. We have created apps which helps us clean Excel data. We've created apps which allows us to put some data and it generates a small dashboard. You are essentially limited by your own imagination, and obviously features can be added as and when required by using this. A lot of the features will, a lot of the features are already suggested by AI over here. Add visual indicators for documents, add downloads for results, add document type selection, and obviously we can see what all data is that it has extracted from each of the document also. Our endeavor, rather my endeavor, would be to design small micro apps like this, and please do give me a thumbs up if you feel, and share with ISODA members at large, so that all of these processes can be, which are repetitive in nature, can be automated. If there is a use case where you believe that some of this app can be automated, please do reach out to me 1:1 on mail or put a message on Twitter. Would be happy to design and explore what all can be done. Yeah. Can I move to the next example, which is even more interesting than this? Okay. Now, the next example is obviously a tool which is close to my heart, which is Notebook LM. And Notebook LM although helped me also analyze the unified labor codes. Now let's create a new notebook in Notebook LM. Now, the interesting thing in the last 1 month is that Notebook LM now allows you to import Google Sheets and use that as a source. Now, I don't like the use of the word game changer, but I cannot stop myself from saying how much of a game changer this is. So what I've done right now here is that I have made a sample Google Sheet. This Google Sheet has task specimens. This is a list of tasks which are due on me or my team, right? What all tasks are these? Let's just first understand. These tasks include pipeline update. This is a CRM related task, maybe for your sales team. Task type documentation, progress, owner is salesperson 7, what is the due date, right? And there are a list of, let's say, approximately 100 tasks over here. How would I have, now I'm a business owner and I want to check which all tasks are pending, which all tasks are pending, let's say for Nova Systems, which all tasks are pending for Kappa Industries, who is it pending on? What this would require me initially would be to make a Power BI dashboard, some sort of dashboard, which would require me to spend a little bit of time in making that dashboard, putting filters, putting slicers, etc. Now let's try a different use case. I will take this Google Sheets link. I will go to Notebook LM. I've created a fresh notebook and I will say that my source is Google Drive. So in my Google Drive, I will say task specimen. This is the source that I want to use. The file name, task specimen for ISODA webinar. Now it's taking its a little bit of time too. Now this is a new feature. Earlier it could not import Google Sheets. It could only import PDF files. Now the interesting thing is now I can essentially chat with my data. Now let's see what all things are pending for Nova Systems. Oh, so interestingly, rather than filtering it out myself, it has generated what all things are pending for Nova Systems. So there's a follow-up call, payment follow-up, right? Can you give me an email template to send to salesperson 5 reminding him about Nova Systems tasks pending on him? So here I have an email to salesperson number 5. This is a gentle reminder regarding your current pending tasks with Nova Systems. Please prioritize completion of the tasks. Here's task 74, task 26. This would have required me to filter it, run an expensive software or do some long slicers, filters, Power BI dashboard, everything automated at a single source, shareable amongst my team, where they can also question here in the chat window what all is pending on me. I am salesperson number 6. Further, it also allows me to generate reports, right? Infographics, quiz. So for example, if I want to generate an infographic on how many tasks are pending on which salesperson, so I want a distribution कि भाई किस salesperson के पास सबसे ज़्यादा task है. So let me design a infographic. I want to check the distribution of tasks amongst salesperson. Design and a dashboard. We'll allow it to generate. We are here and this is an interactive session. If we have seen the source. If anyone would like to just ask a question, I'd be happy to type it in the window and let's see whether it's able to come up with the right answer. The good thing about this versus other tools is that if you put an Excel file into ChatGPT, there is a chance it will hallucinate and go from other sources. Notebook LM is a RAG tool. It only sources data from the sources that you have given. So you can be satisfied about the veracity. We have personally tested it on accounting data. It was a very interesting use case where we wanted to match certain sales invoices to the account transaction done in the books. So we put the sale invoices for PDFs in Notebook LM. And please, all of this is with relevant permission from the relevant client. So data privacy issues being aside, and we put in the Google Sheet with the sales data and we said, can you match each transaction? And it came up with a very detailed report on the PDF and the sales invoice. You can use this for your CRM tracker. You can use this for your sales dashboard. I have another use case where I have a sample data for sales invoices and there's a sales contract. So I can in fact ask how much of the sales contract has been invoiced. So these are just some use cases, and the export options are numerous: video overview, reports, infographics. So till the time infographic is generated, happy to answer any questions or love to understand any use cases which you have seen which maybe I have not been able to explore. Any feedback? We're essentially done with the specimen, so I just wanted to reserve this time now for questions and interaction only. So Meenaji, we're open to questions.
So you're asking for the questions, right, sir, from the members?
Yeah, like question interaction, like my presentation is done. If anyone would like to, discuss, happy to.
Dear members, do you have any questions? So that
Oh, we have the infographic here. Let's see what kind of infographic it has been able to generate. Oh, a very interesting dashboard, which would ideally would require a humongous amount of efforts. But here we have the dashboard. Essentially, this can be just automated by your team member to run it every day and be shared on your WhatsApp group. So possibilities are endless. So salesperson 1 is clearly in trouble here, having most tasks. Team is doing well in terms of in progress and completed tasks. Happy to have questions, and we're essentially done with the PPT. So happy to have questions, discussions.
So actually, I have a questions in that. Not questions, but a query.
Please.
Okay. Is it something like that? The Google is creating itself a database. Like if my team is going to present anything on email, details of the client, any price quote. So did my data is safe?
No, so I
Or
think
it is also cloud-based?
we have I think most of the members here are data and DPDP experts. Would love for them to chime in. I think this one is above my head, this question.
No,
I
actually,
think we have
very
industry
sensitive
leaders here who can
information
answer
is
this.
there.
Yeah, I mean, see, we have software industry leaders here who can, I think, answer this better than I can.
No, everything is there now because the costing part, margin, contacts, each and everything.
I
Whatever
believe
I
that
share
from
with
what
my
I
clients.
understand is that Google is not privy to data on workspace accounts. Is my understanding. Please correct me if I'm wrong. On the workspace accounts, I believe that data is still protected as per their guidelines. Maybe not on the regular Gmail accounts.
Okay. So we will have to be a blind trust on that. Like, yes, our data is protected here.
I think
Because
whenever
it's a very confidential.
I think when we're using our phone also we have to blindly trust a lot of parties. So
Right, right.
I do not believe that
The
privacy as a concept
quotations,
exists.
and sometimes there are many parameters are there where I'm also using the mail and sharing the very essential information to my client, like
I, I believe that
comparison.
workspace, I mean, I can only answer to the extent that workspace accounts, I believe, are secure. Enterprise accounts are secure, not the personal accounts.
Okay, okay. So it means if I'm going to send anything to my personal account, so it can be a link, or it can be, it
Might
is
I,
not.
this is frankly above my pay grade, this question. No, I mean, I can't say for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Fine.
Thanks.
Any other feedback, questions? I hope it was a productive session.
Dhruv, this is Kavita. Yes, session was definitely productive, but since I'm a hardcore Microsoft user, so that's why, no question from my side. We use Planner and everything
Right.
to these things.
No, but I mean, for just chiming in, is that Copilot and Copilot Agent are doing a very good job on the Microsoft side. But in terms of Notebook LM, I believe that there is no competitor product does not exist on the Microsoft side.
Yeah, so that would be something new for us to try. That's the thing. And
Definitely, I think.
so resistance do come. Ki, okay, yeah, we
Yeah,
are comfortable in one thing. That's only the part.
yeah. Because I was personally taken aback by the accuracy of the answers which I received on the when I asked Notebook LM about my Google Sheet.
Mm.
Makes it very easy for a business owner to just chat with their data, essentially.
Okay. So anyway, we'll try, and once
Please.
we'll have questions, we'll just,
Yeah, yeah.
send in the questions to you.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. So, if no other questions, happy to sort of end it, and we'll send a detailed. Yeah. Do you have a question?
Yeah. I
Hi.
think no more questions from the members.
So we will be sending a detailed interpretation of the labor codes once we have a little bit more information on email. If any question, please do reach out to my email ID at any time.
Thanks. Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
bro.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dhruv. It
Thank
is
you.
always a
Thanks,
very
bro.
enlightening session from you.
Thank you. Thank
Dhruv,
you.
thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
time.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for the time.
much.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you.